As the weather gets cooler here in Vermont and I'm starting to see the first few leaves turn yellow, I find myself so excited to watch the seasons change yet again. But I noticed in my own life, I tend to fear change and resist it at all costs, trying to keep things the same. But the one thing I know about life, and definitely something the garden is teaching me, is that change is inevitable, but it also can be so beautiful.
Hi friends, and welcome back to my garden. It is crazy how fast it feels like fall is approaching here in Vermont. Like the mornings are already chilly, we've had some leaves changing already. I have a pumpkin about ready to be harvested. It is coming up so fast. And I love watching the seasons change. It's one of my favorite things here in Vermont, having all four seasons and seeing just the magic of that transformation. But also this time of year makes me think about what I want to change for next year's garden, because I'm finally seeing all of the plans I had in Canva and my spreadsheet actually playing out and growing out. And there's definitely some things I want to tweak next year to make it even better. So today I wanted to share those with you to hopefully help your garden grow even better and also harvest a few things. As you see, we already have a million tomatoes and cucumbers from just these beds. I have to go in the back and see what else we have hiding, waiting for us to harvest, and just enjoy the magic of nature with you. So if that's what you want to see, then just keep watching. So starting over in our kitchen garden, one thing I definitely will not be changing is growing sun golds on this arch. They are so happy here and so prolific. Like we've had baskets upon baskets like this, and they are not slowing down anytime soon. Same thing with the cucumbers. I only did 2 plants this year, and I'm already like swimming in cucumbers. So I'm probably gonna have to make some relish later today, which is perfect because we're supposed to get more rain. But I will definitely be keeping this arch exactly as it is for next year, but the beds on either side, we're going to shift some things around. So one thing I will definitely be changing next year is really paying attention to the sunlight and also my plant height. Because as you can see, these little snacking peppers here, which by the way are so cute, so adorable, so delicious, but they are growing taller than the beans I have planted here in the back. And because the sun rises from like behind where you are up and over the junipers, these are just completely shading out these beans, unfortunately. And I mean, we're still getting an okay harvest, but next year I'll definitely switch these 2 plants and be really, really, really on top of where the sun is coming from and what is going to be casting shade where. The other thing I have to shout out while we're over here is this romaine. I talked about it last month and it was like that big. He's just taken off and I am so excited to harvest him soon. The second thing I will definitely be doing different in my garden next year is netting these beds from the very beginning. We've had so many baby bunnies born on our property, which, don't get me wrong, are adorable, but they have been destroying my beans. And I've tried everything from fencing, bells, a fake owl, cayenne pepper spray. Nothing works as good as the net. So I'm going to save myself a lot of time and frustration next year and just put this on the second I put the seedlings in the beds. Morning, friends. So yesterday I went inside to change out my mic really quick, and it suddenly started torrential downpouring much earlier than I expected. So picking up today where we left off yesterday with the third thing I will definitely be changing in my garden next year. And that change is focusing on productivity over aesthetics. And I'll use this bed in front of us as an example. So this is our biggest bed at 16 by 4 feet. And at the time when I was planning my garden, it made a lot of sense to do pumpkins and watermelons because they are such big vining varieties. But next year, I think I'm going to change it up because I can fit so much more in this bed than just a couple pumpkins and watermelons. And don't get me wrong, I'm still going to grow those because I love being able to pick my own pumpkin for the front porch. And yesterday we just harvested our first watermelon ever, and it was so juicy, so delicious. Nothing like what you got at the store, and Nala absolutely loves it. So definitely going to grow them just somewhere else. And instead in this bed, I think I might do determinate tomatoes for making sauce. Maybe I'll put my potatoes in here instead because I currently have them in grow bags. And while it is great for harvesting them because I just dump the whole thing into a wheelbarrow, I have to constantly water those guys. So I definitely want to change up this bed and get a bigger harvest out of it next year, but I'm not sure to what. So let me know down in the comments, what do you grow the most of in your garden? Or if you had a bed this big, what would you be putting in it? The fourth thing I want to change in my garden next year is focusing on more low maintenance options, particularly in this giant perennial flower bed we have over here. As you can see, this bed is just completely overgrown, and I don't even think you can see that path I was just walking on, even though I have weeded multiple times this summer. So I think next year my plans for making it low maintenance is adding a bunch of mulch early spring before all of these wild grasses pop up, and then also doing a bunch of perennials that will hopefully outcompete them and give us a little bit more late summer color, because right now all I have are hostas and phlox. And in early spring, this bed is gorgeous with all of the poppies and the lupine and the irises and the peonies, but I need a little bit more this time of year. So let me know down in the comments your favorite perennials and also your favorite annuals, because I'm thinking of doing a little cut flower garden here. So drop all of your favorite flowers down below for me. And we have made it all the way to the back to our south garden and also our other vegetable trellis. On here, I have some indeterminate Roma tomatoes, which are doing fairly well. I've already made a couple jars of crushed tomatoes, but they're just not as lush and full as the sun golds up front. And I think it's a sunlight issue because of how tall the trees are growing back here. So I think next year I might move these over to that pumpkin bed we were just talking about and instead do some pole beans, maybe put the watermelons and pumpkins on here, cantaloupe, all that kind of stuff. But that's not actually the fifth and final change I wanted to share with you. Next year, I'm definitely going to be better about consistently fertilizing. And that's the big lesson that this bed taught me, because if you watched any of our garden tours last year, you know that we had a bit of a soil issue and basically had zero nitrogen and nothing was growing. And I thought we fixed that this year with a couple inches of compost we put on top of this at the beginning of the season. But our poblano peppers and our bell peppers in the other bed were not producing any fruit yet. Even though the plants looked healthy and happy, there was no peppers coming until I fertilized this bed a couple weeks ago, and we're just now starting to get some fruit development on them. So next year, I think in order to have my most abundant, lush, and beautiful garden, I'm going to make a schedule for myself and do like every other week fertilizing just to get the most out of these spaces. I wanted to share while we're back here how good our eggplants are doing. This is my first year growing them, and each of our plants has a pretty good sized one on it. So I am really excited to make some eggplant parm. And I also wanted to update you on this shade brassica bed, because last month's garden tour, I shared some Dollar Tree hacks for your garden, like using these trash cans as cages to protect your plants, which is still working great. I'm using them for my fall seedlings, but my celery was just getting way too big for them. So I upgraded it to this PVC system, which we just put rebar in the ground, slipped these PVC pipes over them, and then used some deer netting. And so far, nothing has gotten in here. And I kind of wish I shared this hack in that video. So make sure to go watch that one for all of the other ideas. And with that, I think we are done here today. And I am almost out of coffee as well. So that is my cue to go inside and make another cup. But before I do, let me know down in the comments what you are going to change in your garden next year. And also if you have any thoughts on what I should grow in that big bed in the front, different perennial flower ideas, let me know all the things down below. I love hearing your opinion. I love hearing about your garden. And if you loved hanging out in mine, make sure to give this video a thumbs up so I know to create more like it, and also subscribe so you don't miss future garden updates. But until then, have a magical one.